Welcome back to Dance with Mary NYC, where we talk about any and all things pointe shoes. In this month's episode, I thought we'd talk about what to do for two different size feet, or if you have a big difference from your right and your left foot. I've got a couple of tips and tricks that I want to share with you. Let's get started. So the truth is, we're all asymmetrical beings. We're very different from our right to our left side, just like you have more turnout on one side or a higher extension on a side, and that is completely normal. The problem becomes when the difference is big enough that you have to make adjustments accordingly. So if you're unsure, say you may want to go to a dance podiatrist or a dance orthopedist or somebody that's knowledgeable, and they can measure your foot and tell you exactly what the difference is from the right to left. This is called a Brannock device. This is just the way they measure feet for street shoes, but we also use them for pointe shoes. So that would be one way that you could tell. There may also be a difference in width. Very often somebody with a wider foot on one side will tell me that's their bigger foot. This can be a big challenge, right? So what we want to do is, perhaps one of the easiest things might be to get two different size shoes. So you get a pair of these and a pair of those. So you get a pair for a street shoe size 7 for the smaller foot, and then a 7.5 for the bigger foot, and you use one from each pair, and your problem is solved. But what if that doesn't quite work? And what if you're still growing for the young students? Then you're stuck, maybe if you hit a growth spurt, you're stuck with a pair of shoes that you can't even use. So I'm going to give you some great tips here on maybe some little adjustments that you can make that are going to help out, that are cost effective as well. For the most part, pointe shoes are still made the same way they were hundreds and hundreds of years ago. There are some modern material shoes, but for the most part, we've got the traditional way. So these materials stretch. There's a layer of muslin on the inside, and that's just like a really heavy-duty cotton. And then there's also your satin layers. You're going to get a spritzer bottle, right? And you're going to fill it with about 75% rubbing alcohol and 25% water. You're going to get the shoes, and you can practice on an old pair first. That's always my advice. Practice on an old pair first. For the shoe that you need to stretch, right, you're going to go ahead and start to wet the shoe. This is the side quarter here. You're going to wet all the way back. So take it from the side quarter and start to spritz it. Right? You're going to spray it down, spray it down. You can even do this on the ball of the foot as well, but I recommend starting from the side quarter on back all the way to the heel. Try the shoe on, try a few demi-plies. If that isn't enough, then you're going to start to spray the inside, and the muslin will stretch too. So I got my rubbing alcohol, I've got my water, and I'm spraying it down for that longer foot. Right? So what's going to happen here is, as you're wearing the shoe, and this is crucial, you need to wear the shoe while you're doing it. So don't spray it and then not wear it. Make sure you spray it and wear it. Keep going, keep spraying, and even as you wear it, it's going to stretch out. Try a plie, spray it down. Try a tendu or a releve, spray it down. This may work for you. Yes, it's going to affect the color of the shoe, but you kind of have to work past that because it's more important that you're fitting yourself very well anatomically. That's your first suggestion, okay? We get a little fancier each time. So for your next suggestion is, this one is really, this is another really easy fix. You're going to get different types of toe pads. So you would put, say, a bigger pad. This is, and you can get whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You can get gel, covered gel, lamb's wool, anything. This is a bigger size than this one. So I would go ahead and put this on the smaller foot, and then I would put this on the bigger foot and see if that worked out and try on my size. If that doesn't work, sometimes people will say, I don't like the way the different fabrics feel on my feet. I'm like, okay, this is no problem, because there are so many variations on this type of pad that you can take it and you can cut it down. So once again, I'm going to put this bigger pad on the smaller foot, and then I've trimmed the pad down. You can see that right there. I've got it trimmed for the larger foot. This way the foot doesn't really feel a big difference from one side to the other. And the awesome thing about these is you can keep trimming into the pad and it won't run. The gel won't run anywhere. Okay, it's just going to stay where it is. And you can see I've trimmed out here, and I've got a little piece in my hand, and it's not going to go anywhere. That is a really easy fix. So I'm going to take paper towels. It can be a regular paper towel, it can be a trifold paper towel, or it can even be one of these cleaning wipes. The cleaning wipes, the big difference is we know paper towels disintegrate really easily. They are inexpensive, but they do fall apart. So the cleaning towel won't fall apart. And what what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my shoe and I'm going to get my pad. All I'm going to do, if this is my foot, is I'm going to wrap that around my foot. This is going to be for the smaller foot. And you're going to place it inside the toe pad, and then you're going to put it in the shoe and see how that works for you. It might raise up your foot just a little bit enough that maybe you don't have to purchase 2 different size shoes. Okay, so if that one doesn't work, if the paper towel trick doesn't work, then I'm going to go to my other materials. So I've got mole foam, which is thicker, and moleskin, which is thinner. I'll show you the difference. You could try either one. If there's a big difference with the smaller foot, you could go for the mole foam. Today I'm going to use the moleskin just because it's a thinner layer. I'm taking my moleskin for the smaller foot, and I'm going to start to kind of cut the toe pad that I'm making into, it's sort of a funnel shape. I have to be really frank here. I am not crafty, but maybe you're crafty. So my cuts don't look so great, but yours are going to be awesome. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to cut it to something like that. And then I'm going to start to insert it into the throat of the shoe with the white side down and the fuzzy side out. And that may be just enough for the smaller foot. You do still wear your pads, you put your foot in the shoe, and it'll raise your foot up, might take up that extra bit of space. This can be a little cumbersome. So I'm going to actually take it and I'm going to cut it so that it makes sort of a big letter U. And once again, I'm not so crafty once again. Like I said, if you're good at this, that's awesome. So you can see I made a big letter U with it, so it fits into the point shoe even better. Once again, fuzzy side down. And I'm going to put my foot into the shoe with the pad, maybe without the pad. Try it out for your smaller foot. Now, once in a while, people will tell me, oh, it slid around. So it does peel. It has sticky on one side and a fuzzy on the other. So you could peel it and line your shoe. A lot of times it stays on its own. I got a whole bunch of different kinds of heel grippers. This is once again for a smaller foot, if you're trying to pad up a smaller foot to meet a bigger foot. There are thicker options, which are these rubbery options here. And then I have a bunch of smaller options. So I found this one. I just went on the internet and found this one. And then I also found these lovely thin ones that are more foam-like. And the cool thing about them is they come in different colors. And all I'm going to do, I'll demonstrate with the thicker one. All I'm going to do is I'm going to just take that and I'm going to peel it and I'm going to put it in the back of my heel. And that may take up just the extra bit of space. We did cover something similar to this in how to work with narrow heels, so you may want to check that episode out if you do have very narrow heels. Now, if that doesn't work for you, you go to either one of your thinner ones, or you could even cut this in half and place it on either side of your Achilles tendon, and that may just kind of help take out that extra little bit of space. Right, give it an experiment, see which one works best for you. And I always recommend to go with an older pair of shoes so that you can kind of mess up your newer pair of shoes. And this may be really helpful because these are so easy to get. So all I did was, sometimes they're called callus cushions, sometimes they're called bunion cushions. The one that you don't want to get are the corn cushions. Those are very tiny. So these are a good sized donut. As a professional dancer, you don't have a lot of money. You are on a budget, so you got to save your coins. So save your coins, get the generic kind. And so I got my little donuts here, and all I'm going to do is start to peel them off. They have sticky on one side, soft on the other. I'm going to go in the back of the shoe like this. I'll show you like that. So there's that middle seam in the back, and I'm going to go on either side of the middle seam and see if I can't take up just a little bit amount of space. You could also put that one in the center, and that may work for people with a very pronounced heel bone. So what I did was I went to the store and I got these foam insoles for shoes. Right, so they just come in a package like that, and it usually says comfort insoles or foam insoles for shoes. Don't get the air pillow, do get the smaller one. I also got the men's size, so that's why this one looks so big. I got the men's size because you get a little more bang for your buck. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to place my point shoe on top. So I just put it on top this way, and I'm going to begin to trace around it. I'm using a marker so we can see really well. And once again, full confession, I am not crafty, so you are going to do a much better job than I am. I got myself a nice pair of scissors, and I'm just going to start to follow that tracing. Okay, so I've got my little tracing here, and then for the smaller foot, once again, I am going to start to put this on the inside of the shoe. Now, I overshot the runway and I made it too big. No problem. And I'm going to stick it in there, and then I'm going to try the shoe on and see if it works. If it's too much, which people often will tell me it is a little bit too much, the beauty of these is they're so inexpensive. You can cut them. If you mess up, you just redo it with another one. I'm going to cut so just the front half is going there, right? And I'm going to try that on right then and see if that doesn't work, maybe just the back half. You can even cut it down more. Maybe you only need 1/4 of that to start working. Go ahead and put that in the shoe and try it out and see if that doesn't help you out with that smaller foot. Here's where we get a little fancier with what we're going to do with the shoe. This is going to work for the bigger foot. And once again, always try on an old pair first, experiment, and then see if it works for you. I'm going to recommend that you get a pair of manicure scissors. One of the reasons that I like the manicure scissors, I'll kind of hold it up right there so you can see it. We'll give you a nice shot of that. One of the reasons that I like that is that it's curved, so it kind of goes into the layers of the pointe shoes a little easier. Most pointe shoes, you can pull away this layer. We talked about that muslin layer. You can pull this away really easily and go ahead and experiment. Just kind of pull on it and see if it works for you. The very first thing is you find that stay, right? We covered that in pointe shoe anatomy in another episode. And you're going to find that stay right there. And you're just going to begin to follow the stay and cut only the inner muslin layer. It might take a little practice to get in there. Okay, so you can see that I cut that inner layer right there. And I'm going to go ahead and keep going. And I'm going to cut the other side too, right behind that inner seam there on that inner liner. I didn't pierce the outside at all. Right, so I didn't pierce the outside. I just started cutting on the inside. And what that's going to do is, for the longer foot, is that's going to allow you a little bit of space, like say when you do a demi-plie. Experiment with that, right? So maybe that isn't enough for you. So then I'm going to take my pretty sharp scissors, just be careful, right? And I'm going to start to pierce that fabric. And I'm going to go ahead and follow that line of that seam again. And I'm going to just show you, I'm going to put my finger through to show. You don't want to cut this upper layer here. So that is called the drawstring casing. Don't cut into that because you're going to lose the support of the shoe. I'm just going to cut this a little bit because it will tear naturally more on its own. Right? Get up, try your demi-plie again, and really see if that's enough for you. And make sure that you cut both sides so evenly. Okay? Try it on that longer foot. See if that cutting works for you. If that doesn't work for you, then we've got to really start to get a little more aggressive in our cutting. So I'm going to find that stay in the back of the pointe shoe. And once again, I'm going to use my little scissors. Now, if that's not easy for you, I have small hands, so it's easy for me. But if it's not easy for you, go ahead and grab your bigger scissors. Just be careful when you go to pierce the fabric that you don't cut into your hands. And I'm just going to start to cut along that stay. And depending on the pointe shoe companies, some of them have a little bit of a cushioning in the back of the heel, so it might take you a little bit more to cut through it. I'm going to just show you this way. I cut into it, and then I'm going to poke my finger through just so you can see that. That way, if you're cutting the sides, inside and outside, and then if you cut into the heel, that is really going to give you a nice amount of give when you do a demi-plie. Once in a while, people will tell me after I've sent them home to do this on their own, they said, I love it, but boy, I really felt like I lost support. I felt like my heel was coming out. I'm like, no problem. You're just going to take some elastic, whatever kind you prefer. And you're going to place the elastic on the inside of the shoe, right over that cut that you made, and you just begin to stitch it around. You may need a really thick needle and good thread to do it. So just stitch it around. So as you start to plie, what happens is the elastic gives as you demi-plie and your foot gets longer. And then as you go up onto pointe, the elastic pulls in and supports it. I know this is a lot. I'm really giving you quite a bit to work on, but it's really important. It's all about customizing it just for you. And nobody else can do that for you. Everybody is very special, and their feet are special too, and we just want the best for what your foot needs. I hope you got some really good information out of that episode. I know I really enjoyed sharing it with you. Now don't forget to click if you like something, subscribe, and share this episode with others. Let us know what you'd like us to cover in future episodes. Thanks for watching.